Hey guys, it's Jamie, and today I am going to be talking about how I realised / knew that I'm transgender. This is probably a question that is in like the top 3 questions I get asked. Actually no, it is in the top 3 questions I get asked, and it's the only question in the top 3 that does not involve my genitals. Anyway, I did a really awkward version of this video over 4 years ago when I was still not comfortable talking to a camera and I thought it was time to make a clearer, less awkward version for you guys because I still get asked this question a lot. So to answer this question, we first need to rewind back to when I was a child and significantly cuter than I am now. Basically, I was always referred to as a tomboy. I had my hair short. I did a lot of stereotypically like boy things and wore clothes from the boys section and liked it when people referred to me as a boy and all of that stuff. But I didn't really think about my gender too much when I was a kid because I was really fortunate that my parents just let me wear and be how I wanted without putting up a fuss and being like, oh, you shouldn't do that because you're a girl type thing. Except for that one time my mum made me wear a dress. It's okay, it's forgiven. But then puberty, the nightmare of puberty hit me like a truck, and the difference between the expectations of boys and girls became a lot bigger, and I just felt really uncomfortable with the way my body was changing and the way people were starting to expect me to dress and behave now that I was growing up. That marked the beginning of me feeling really uncomfortable in terms of my gender and how people viewed me because of the way I appeared and stuff like that. So yeah, it was between the ages of 11 and 16 that I felt really confused about my gender and just what was going on, and I didn't have any way to describe it, and I just thought I was weird, basically. Getting older and going through puberty and the way my body was changing, and it was in a way that I didn't expect and didn't want, it made me think that I needed to just live as a girl and that I was a girl. And genuinely just every time like gender came up during those 5 years, I just thought that there was something really wrong with me and it was confusing and I didn't have a way to describe it, and it was just not the best time. There's other stuff going on. This wasn't something that was like in my head 24/7. Just pop gender on my head, hello gender. But it was something that made me feel uncomfortable. I never quite knew how to dress or how to behave, and I felt like I had to fit this kind of standard or people would question and call me weird and pick on me and just fun times. Anyway, my light bulb moment came when I was 16 and I just happened to watch a documentary about a young trans guy in the UK, and oh my god, it was like a revelation. It was like the best thing I could have watched. I legit felt like a switch had been flicked and I made this huge discovery about myself, and I finally had a way to describe how I was feeling, because the way that the guy in the documentary was describing how he felt and just watching his process, because it kind of followed him through the first few months of like testosterone and stuff, I was just sitting there watching and I was like, oh my god, that's insane, because there were so many similarities. And I felt like watching that documentary was like giving me the information and the language I needed to describe how I felt and to realize that the way I felt wasn't wrong, I wasn't weird, I was trans. So yeah, one of the most relieving but also scariest things in my life. Also one of the best things. But basically, before I realized I was trans, I'd started kind of being a bit more comfortable exploring what I wore. I did kind of stop feeling like I needed to try really hard to fit in as female, and I was just like, I want to be comfortable. I want to wear clothes I like. I want to have my hair the way I like it, which was shorter. So I was kind of going in that direction. And then when I realized I was trans, I just continued that and kind of sped up the process until I was just completely comfortable with what I wore and like how I presented myself. And following watching the documentary, I went away and I watched like an actual ton of YouTube videos. Like the amount of YouTube videos I watched, the amount of time I just spent on Tumblr blogs and YouTube and just online in general, looking into being trans, what it means, what the process is, watching other people's experiences. It was crazy, but also just so helpful. Like it was the best resource for me to learn about it and to accept it about myself. It really helped with that, and just to know what to do. YouTube videos and stuff also helped my mum understand what I was going through, like hearing other people talk about their experiences, and other people talk about their experiences with their mums as well, and hearing a mum's point of view really helped my mum kind of like relate and understand. How much those videos helped me was a huge reason why I started doing this and why I'm still doing this. So yeah, I hope I do help you guys in some way. That would be fantastic. That is basically the story of how I found out I was trans. I had always just thought I was a boy when I was a really young kid, and then as I grew up I realized that I was different. I felt like I needed to fit in and just live as female. Felt very uncomfortable. I had these feelings, but I couldn't describe them. I didn't know that what I was feeling was possible and was a real thing that I could do something about. And it was that documentary that gave me the language, gave me the ability to start looking into it, and made me realize this thing about myself, which was so important to realize. I wish I had found out sooner. I wish there'd been resources in school teaching about this, or just more readily available information, and just, I don't know. It would have been nice to know sooner. Scary as hell, massive relief though. Sorted out a lot of confusion in my head. So that's how I found out. I'm now waffling, I'm really sorry. There is no right or wrong way to find out you're a trans. There's no right or wrong way to feel after you find out. And also there's no right or wrong time frame between finding out that being trans is possible and realizing you yourself are trans. Like, there could be years between those two events. Just personally for me, it happened to be all pretty instant, but it doesn't make you any more or less trans the time it takes you to figure things out. I hope that made sense. Everybody's different. Everyone figures out in their own way and in their own time. So yeah, you just do you. Let me know your experiences in the comments below, and also just come say hi. Follow me on social media links, which is in the description box thing also below. I feel like I do this a lot at the end of my videos. I'm sorry. As always guys, thank you so much for watching. Much love. Bye.